Nickelodeon is one of the many kids networks that me, along with many other people, have grown up watching in the course of our lifetimes. With such shows like SpongeBob, iCarly, Drake and Josh, The Fairly Odd Parents, Victorious, and many other shows from the 90s, many kids grew up and stayed glued to their TVs watching these shows. However, there is one person who is behind the majority of all of these shows that we've grown up with, and that person is Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider has created many of the shows that we've come to know today, such as The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious, Sam and Cat, and many, many more. Over the course of many months and years, a lot of controversies have come out about Dan Schneider and his shows and what happens behind them. So today I decided to talk about the Dan Schneider Iceberg and go into detail and give some insights about what these theories and controversies are. In order to avoid any legal trouble from now into the future, please note that these are all just allegations, theories, and controversies. As of the making of this video, none of these have been proven true. Credit to Robinsons_LSD who posted this in the r/Nickelodeon Iceberg charts on Reddit. And without further ado, let's get started into this video. Before we get started, this is a full-on content warning for the entirety of this video. This video will discuss themes such as pedophilia, possible child abuse, and many other dark themes. Viewer discretion is advised, and if you are uncomfortable with any of these topics, I would recommend that you click off this video. Creepy behavior on set. There is a video that went around last year of Dan Schneider recording Elizabeth Gillies and Ariana Grande, who both played Jade West and Kat Valentine on the show Victorious. This particular clip I am showing you right now was posted on the Dan Warp YouTube channel, which is Dan Schneider's YouTube channel. Many people, along with myself, have noticed that this particular clip does show the two girls being very uncomfortable with Dan Schneider recording them, with Elizabeth Gillies making a sound to distract Dan Schneider to move the camera and no longer record them, and even signaling to the actors who play Beck and Sikowitz to keep the camera on them instead of the girls.
That was amazing. That was one of the better things I've ever heard.
Hey!
Hi, what's going on here?
Cut out that part.
Why are you sitting on the floor of the set?
Because we are.
They are. Did you just bark?
No, I did not.
Who barked?
Did you hear that? Yeah.
It's the Christmas ghost. It's the ghost of Christmas past.
When Ariana Grande is saying cut that out in the beginning of the video, it is supposedly because her lower half was accidentally shown on camera. Personally, this video does not sit well with me because it does show the girls being very uncomfortable and having to laugh it off at this whole ordeal of Dan Schneider recording them. Foot fetish and foot photos. A long-standing rumor that has a lot of proof behind it is that Dan Schneider himself has a foot fetish. In many of Dan Schneider's shows, such as iCarly and Victorious, many of the characters' feet were shown multiple times in the show. As children, this probably flew over our heads as a joke, but now, personally myself as a teenager now, I kind of see it a bit weird how there were so many foot scenes in all of these shows. Now, here's where it gets a little bit weird. Foot photos is in reference to the feet-related tweets that Dan Schneider has put out on his own Twitter and his show's Twitter. One of the most popular and well-known tweets of this was the Sam and Cat Twitter page posting for its users and fans to take a picture of their feet and hashtag it Sam and Cat Saturday for likes and follows. And the scary part is, people actually did that, especially children. This is just one of the countless infamous tweets that have been put out by Dan Schneider over the course of his shows. And to be very honest with all of you, this is disgusting, especially since this is taking advantage of young children on the internet. Alexa Nicholas comments, Alexa Nicholas played Nicole Bristow on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101, which was produced by Dan Schneider. Around the time of the Zoe 101 reunion, Alexa Nicholas was very open about the bullying she faced by her co-workers behind the scenes on Zoe 101. She went on Instagram Live and talked about how Jamie Lynn Spears, the main actress of Zoe 101, had bullied her and got the rest of the cast to help bully her and leave her out of different stuff. When talking about Dan Schneider, however, it was very limited on what she said, but there seems to be some illusion that it is true. Everything about the allegations are true. As we get further into this video, a lot of other actors who worked on Dan Schneider's shows will pop up, so I want to completely point out that a lot of these actors have never spoken out fully about what Dan Schneider does behind the scenes because of many reasons. Whether it was they signed a document when they were younger, they were given hush money, Dan Schneider can possibly sue them, or they could risk career suicide. Pedophilic allegations. As the list continues in this video, you will see more allegations of pedophilic actions from Dan Schneider onto his actors and actresses on these Nickelodeon shows. According to this article from evmagazine.com, which was posted on January 18th, 2021, it is titled Nickelodeon's Murky History of Child Sex Abuse. One of the parts reads, "Want to hear something creepy? Way back in 2011, the hacktivist group Anonymous released a video in which they announced that they were going to war with Nickelodeon's Dan Schneider because they had reasons to believe that he was sexually abusing the children on his show. It's been 10 years since that happened, and many people have become much more aware of any type of sexual abuse that happens in Hollywood, with more people becoming more aware about these allegations of Dan Schneider." In a segment of this article, it reads, "How Dan Schneider Abused His Power at Nickelodeon." This article states, "Let's start with Dan Schneider's weird kid's foot fetish. Having a foot fetish in itself is not a crime. However, the problem is when that fetish is extended towards children, which the example is the Twitter account for Sam and Cat, which I showed you earlier in this video." I will go into more examples of these pedophilic allegations towards Dan Schneider as the video continues. Acting boot camps. On YouTube, there is a YouTube channel called Revenge of the Sis that has done many videos of Dan Schneider, especially with this one being their most popular on their channel. I will be playing a portion of this video for time purposes, but basically in this video, a girl who was once an actress who was trying to get a Nickelodeon gig went to a boot camp and speaks out about her experiences with Dan Schneider and the network industry in general and what these boot camps held.
So in 1997, I was discovered in a mall, basically we would go on auditions just at different places, and eventually I got a manager and an agent who would send me on audition calls for, little things like commercials and everything. And then as I started growing in my career, in 2007, my agent contacted me and my family about possibly getting a good Nickelodeon gig. In the audition call listing, they did mention, wear something cute, like wear spaghetti straps or a skirt or, whatever. And my mom, when she told me later on that whenever she saw things like that, she thought that it was a little uncomfortable for people to be telling kids what to wear.
How old were you at the time?
So, I was probably around 14 years old.
Okay, go ahead.
When we got there, it was a bunch of kids, probably like 200 kids. And then these random agents hand-selected specific kids that they liked or, showed some charisma. And then once about 40 kids were selected, we were then told to take off our shoes and that we were each going to go into a room to show the producer, who is Dan Schneider, the tapes to see who we would want on the show. And, of course, we always ask, what do we have to do? What would you like us to be doing once we're in there? And my agent told me, he's like, it's going to be he's like, you got to just take off your shoes, just run around in front of the camera, talk about how much you love being barefoot. And at the time, even, you know, it was like, okay, that's weird, but I didn't think anything of it because I was still young.
Right.
And then once we got into the last room before my audition happened, my mom kind of looked around and was like, this is wrong. There's just something really wrong about this. What would happen is that your parents would send you to sort of like this camp, and you would be separate from your parents, and the parents would be going through their own seminar, basically telling them like, oh, well, and just how to be, I guess. And then for the kids, it was basic acting classes, and it was an opportunity for the kids to get discovered. And interestingly enough, most of the kids got discovered by the pool.
Jesus Christ.
The place had a pool?
They had a pool, they had like tennis courts, and I believe like it was like Megan Fox and other female select, and Hillary Duff was another one who got discovered there at the pool. And they would push you to do pool activities because they said that's where you have the highest chance of getting discovered.
Now, what was the age range of the people that went to these at these camps?
The age ranges, the ones that I was familiar with, are ages 13 to 22.
Because this actress is speaking out and because their parents forced them out of the audition, this actress has been banned and blacklisted from the industry. Asked young girls to spend time with him shoeless and paid $100 to tickle a girl's feet. Back in 2013, a post was made on Reddit talking about how Dan Schneider was one of the most popular Children Network producers. An anonymous person commented under this post and said, I grew up in LA and was an extra on the Amanda Show a few times. He meaning Dan Schneider, paid me $100 once just to tickle my feet. The anonymous user was asked to elaborate, and so they did. To make a weird story short, in between takes, Dan asked me if I was ticklish, and I said no. Then he bet me $100 he could make me ticklish. I was expecting him to reach over and tickle me under my arm or something like that, but he led me to his office. I basically got paid to receive a foot massage and a lot of compliments. Supposedly, this Redditor wound up deleting their account, and it is completely unknown if they were telling the truth. Ariana Grande objectification. Ariana Grande is one of the most popular celebrities in today's media, and many people do remember her from the show Victorious, as she played Cat Valentine. However, as many people look back into Ariana Grande's earlier years on Nickelodeon, a lot of people did notice a lot of sexualizing scenes from Victorious in which they very much sexualized Ariana Grande's character. Some of it was shown on the show Victorious, but there also was the slap.com, which was an in-universe website with the Victorious characters. And a lot of clips did emerge from there, and this is a compilation of some of those clips.
Have you ever said something, like a sentence, and thought to yourself, wow, like, I bet nobody else on earth has ever said those exact words that I just said? That happens to me a lot. So now, just for fun, I'm gonna say 3 sentences that I bet not one person has ever said before in the history of mankind. Sentence number 1. Oh man, my uvula got stuck between that hamster's toes. See? That could never happen, because your uvula is that swingy thing in the back of your throat right here. So there's no way you could get it stuck between a hamster's toes. Sentence number 3. I'm soaking wet! Quick, somebody bring me the ocean! No one would ever say that. Why? Because if you were soaking wet and you were upset about it, the last thing you'd want is for somebody to bring you the ocean. Because the ocean is even more wet than even the wettest person in the world. Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check this out.
There are many, many more clips you can find like that on YouTube, and it really just is off to me because Ariana Grande at this time of her career was a teenager, and for them to be having her in these weird positions and all this stuff is just very disturbing to me, especially since, like I said, she was a teenager at this time. In recent years, Ariana Grande has not spoken out about Dan Schneider or anything that has happened backstage. I think the most recent instance of this case with Victorious and Ariana Grande now is a case in which a TikToker named Paige Newman had used Ariana Grande's voice from Victorious and mixed it in with Ariana Grande's reality self, in which this TikToker looked very, very identical to Ariana Grande and used her iconic ponytail while using Cat Valentine's audio from Victorious. The whole situation made Ariana very uncomfortable, and she did ask for the TikToker to stop doing that. This possibly has nothing to do with Dan Schneider, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because how I looked at it is that this could possibly be Ariana Grande wanting to separate her fiction self from her reality self, especially since in Victorious she was very sexualized and objectified, like this entire part talks about. But I don't know, and this could be just her being very uncomfortable with there being a TikToker who's trying to look just like her. Ariana Grande has not spoken out about Dan Schneider, and this could be because of her career. I did mention this earlier that a lot of people have not spoken out fully about Dan Schneider because their careers could be in jeopardy, and that could happen with Ariana Grande, especially since in Hollywood there are many ties with producers, celebrities, etc. Brian Peck involvement. In 2004, Brian Peck was convicted of a lewd act against a child and oral copulation of a person under 16. Brian Peck served 16 months in prison after admitting 2 counts of abusing a Nickelodeon child actor. The scary part is, he is still working with underage kids. According to the dailymail.com UK, Brian Peck is only banned from direct contact with children, so he is able to work on children's series and on sets with underage actors. Since his release from prison, he has been dialogue coach, worked on Disney series, and played teacher, and claims to be friend of Charlie Sheen. The child actor that Brian Peck abused has remained anonymous in order to protect his or her career, but it is rumored that this child actor worked on The Amanda Show. When asked by the Daily Mail UK if he had anything to say to the child he abused, he said, "I don't have any comment on it, I really don't." According to an article titled "Groomed to Be All That," 2 years prior, before Brian Peck's conviction, him and Dan Schneider both worked together and hosted a comedy boot camp in which child stars would go and be separated from their parents. Supposedly, even after Brian Peck's conviction, Dan Schneider and him still worked together. And the scary part is, they worked together for years.
Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
Jeanette McCurdy allegations. Jeanette McCurdy is known for her iconic role as Sam Puckett in iCarly and Sam and Cat. However, the star went through many things over the course of the 2 shows, such as developing an eating disorder and losing a family member. Jeanette McCurdy did not make an appearance, nor was she going to come back for the iCarly reboot that was happening on Paramount Plus this year. Many fans questioned why, and this is when the talk of Dan Schneider came up. Now, Jeanette McCurdy has not said anything directly about Dan Schneider, but many fans speculate that something happened to her while she was working on the set of iCarly, and that is probably one of the reasons why she didn't come back for the reboot. Jeanette McCurdy wrote and directed a short film back in 2019, which you can find on her YouTube channel, and the description reads, "A clip from my loosely autobiographical short about a child actress raised in a dysfunctional Mormon family."
And then he
What, sweetheart? What did he do?
touched me.
Where did he touch you? Show me where he touched you.
I don't wanna.
Come on. You can do it.
No, I really don't wanna.
Come on, Josie.
On my private. He touched me on my private.
And cut! Wow. It's like I lost you in that character. It's like you weren't even my daughter.
Which is good. Good.
Yeah.
You're gonna book this one, Charlotte.
We're gonna be rich.
Many people interpreted this short film as how child stars have to hide that they were abused by the industry and their parents can continue making money, even though it may damage them mentally, physically, or emotionally. And many people did interpret this as a cry for help from Jeanette McCurdy, in which many people believe that she was abused by Dan Schneider. Viacom settlements. Viacom is the main company that is in charge of Nickelodeon as well as other channels such as Paramount and MTV. Back in 2020, Viacom, Disney, and Hulu were in a lawsuit having to do with child privacy violations, in which parents accused them of violating child privacy protection laws by collecting and selling personal identifying information of children who use their child-focused mobile apps. But what Viacom settlements possibly means in this case is that since Viacom is the parent company of Nickelodeon, if any of the producers or workers of Nickelodeon does something rash, Viacom has to pay for their lawyers. So in the case of Dan Schneider, if he ever went to court because of child abuse towards an actor or actress, Viacom would be the ones paying for his lawyers and the settlements. So this is why many people think this is one of the reasons why Nickelodeon let him go. Studio sharing tantrum. In 2018, Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider parted ways in which they quote-unquote were going to use this time to pursue other opportunities and projects. Because of this split, Dan Schneider and his shows were going to have to move into a smaller production space, which he wasn't happy about. According to Deadline.com, it reads, Schneider has had well-documented temper issues for years. I hear there was a flare-up last week during a meeting he had with Nickelodeon executives where they indicated to him that Game Shakers was not getting renewed for a 4th season. Sources say that Schneider's reaction was, at least in part, due to the fact that Game Shakers was about to wrap up production on its 3rd season the following day with a cliffhanger season finale, which would leave fans without closure. I hear at the meeting, Schneider also was told that his other Nick comedy, Henry Danger, which is on hiatus, and another show made by Austin Alley creators Kevin Koplo and Hef Stevers' new Nick series Cousins for Life would move into the production space in the Nickelodeon-owned Burbank Studios, which has housed Schneider's series exclusively for the past few years. Sources say that Schneider objected to the prospect of having to share the office and production space with the non-bakery show. Dan Schneider was on the Lolita Express list. To be honest with you guys, I had no idea what this was. I had to use a conspiracy theorist article because no news magazine or magazine article in general talked about this, and this has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. This article, which was written by Joe Kennedy back in 2020, is titled Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express to Pedo Island Flight List. Who is on it? The Lolita Express used a private passenger jet owned by billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and it is called this because it reportedly offered underage girls to be passengers to an island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and they were raped. The list consisted of many government and ex-government officials along with big names in Hollywood, and Dan Schneider himself is on this list. A question I have is how come Brian Peck is not on this list when he works with children just like Dan Schneider? Other people such as Anderson Cooper, Eminem, and Oprah Winfrey are on this list. Keeping the same topic but moving on to Reddit, a Redditor asked, does anyone know if Dan Schneider had any connections to Epstein? Dan Schneider is a TV producer largely known for his years with Nickelodeon. For a while there have been allegations of pedophilia and a lot of unsettling things happening on set of most TV shows he's worked on. Currently, I've only seen cartoon and nostalgia YouTubers cover this even before Epstein allegations came out. I would think that it would have been caught on in the media since he was a major producer of children's and teens television. The title speaks for itself. I do actually wonder if Schneider and Epstein had any connections. To be honest with you all, it seems far-fetched but very plausible because in Hollywood there are many connections like this. And the scary part is these connections can be covered up. Sexually abused Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy and used Sam and Cat to buy their silence. This entry seems a bit far-fetched, but at the same time it doesn't. Now, I don't think the show Sam and Cat was made to buy Ariana Grande and Janelle McCurdy's silence, but I do think both girls did experience something while working on Victorious and iCarly. The show Sam and Cat could have been used as a way for their families to get more money from them working with Dan Schneider and on Nickelodeon. But I personally don't know, and this one is kind of confusing to explain. iCarly Crazy Steve theory. Now, I don't know what this has to do with Dan Schneider, but I'll go into the theory for you guys. The theory said that Crazy Steve, after the events of Drake and Josh, kidnapped Megan, took her to Seattle, and made her change her name to Carly, made her call him Spencer, and made her pretend that he is her brother, leading to the events of iCarly. Nickelodeon pedophile ring. This list, posted by Alexa Nicholas herself, the one who had spoken out about her treatment behind the scenes of Zoe 101, posted this on her Instagram story. The list shows 5 men, which are Ezell Channel, Brian Peck, Marty Reese, Jason M. Handy, and Dan Schneider, with all of them talking about inappropriate behavior that has happened behind the sets of different shows. Cat is mentally disabled. According to a Redditor who posted this on the r/Victorious forum on Reddit, they asked the question, is Kat supposed to come off as she has a mental disorder? I have read many complaints elsewhere that Kat's personality gets more exaggerated by season 3, but even prior to that, she seems neurodivergent. Maybe it's just Dan's trope of having characters who have signs of mental/neurological disorders in comedic roles. I'm not sure what's with Robbie either. He genuinely seems to think that a puppet is someone else. It's been questioned what disability Kat possibly has, and a lot of answers have popped up that it is ADHD. Now, if Dan's whole trope was to make a comedic effect out of somebody with a mental disability, he shouldn't have done that, because all it does is just poke fun at people who do actually have those types of disabilities. Dan Schneider is the biological father of Maddie Brianne Alderidge. Back in 2007, Jamie Lynn Spears got pregnant at 16, which was one of the reasons that led to the cancellation of Zoe 101. 2 months prior to Jamie Lynn Spears' announcement of her pregnancy, the host of the online forum Crazy Days and Nights had predicted something similar to what happened. In October 2007, the host of the online forum made this comment: "I don't even know how you define what list someone is in when they are on some ensemble show watched by teens and preteens, so go with the above, and make her a female. Make her pregnant, which is causing the producers to have a heart attack because they really don't need any more scandals. But wait, there's more. One of the producers, who is old enough to be her grandfather, shouldn't be having a heart attack because of shock, because he is the one who knocked her up. New boyfriends are being lined up as we speak." This seems a little far-fetched, but also very plausible because of how many accusations have been made towards Dan. Robert Downey Jr. forum comments. Going back to Crazy Days and Nights, people on the website can make accounts and comment on the different posts that are on the website. One commenter, known as Him, is supposedly Robert Downey Jr. himself. Many people found many similarities to Robert Downey Jr. and the commenter on the forum. The commenter, known as Him, had this to say about Dan Schneider: "He's a monster, the worst predator alive, and if you wonder why nobody will confront or charge him, he's in charge of multiple hit shows for Nickelodeon, which rakes in oceans of money, tens of millions of dollars multiplied by many years and many shows, not to mention his merchandising royalties. So Viacom Nick warned him to cool it and then paid for his damn lawyers. What about the parents? No tweener parent who shoved their kid into the limelight from birth is going to cross him either and risk career suicide and loss of revenue. No matter how bad it F's the kid up, especially if there's multiple kid actors in the family and the kid's agents are complicit too. Just ask the Spears family. A lot of settlements get paid out of Viacom's accounts." It is still completely unknown if the commenter known as Him is actually Robert Downey Jr. So my final thoughts about this is that this entire list made me feel very disgusted that this happened behind the scenes of my favorite Nickelodeon shows. Now, even though I did say that all of these were allegations, I do believe the victims. I want to completely put that out there, that I believe all of the victims that have said something or tried to come forward about Dan Schneider. And the sad part about this is that this stuff still goes on behind the scenes of many other shows. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below what else you want me to talk about on this channel. I want to apologize for my month-long break. I was gone for a month because of testing, and now that I finally have wrapped up school, I can now finally make more videos and make more content on my channel. Thank you guys for being so patient with me, and thank you guys again for watching this video, and have a great day or night depending on where you live, and I'll see you guys next time on my channel. Bye guys!